today what I'm going to demo for you is the Tres Leches cake. A lot of people have an interest in this. It is the 3 milk cake. So what it consists of is just a basic vanilla cake, which I'm going to make right now. And then afterwards we'll add all of the 3 milks to it. It absorbs those 3 milks and it becomes a super moist, delicious cake with a homemade whipped topping. So to start off, I'm going to make sure I have all of my ingredients and all of my measuring equipment. Okay, so I have my flour, I have my baking powder, not baking soda, I have my salt, I have eggs, I have my sugar, I have my whole milk already measured, and I have my vanilla extract. I'm going to need 3 bowls for this. You're also going to need one of the bowls chilled, so you're going to want to put that in the freezer for a little bit. You're also going to need your spoon, your rubber scraper, a straight edge leveler, straight edge spatula to get you your perfect cup of flour. You're going to need some dry measuring cups, your measuring spoons and tablespoons and teaspoons, everything like that. You're going to also need some cooking spray. That's not actually in the ingredient list, it's in the directions, so don't forget your cooking spray. And then you also need a 9x13 baking dish, okay? So a 9x13 cake pan, just like this. You are going to need a piece of an electrical equipment, and that is your hand mixer, your electric hand mixer. So once you have all of that in place, you can begin. My first step is to preheat my oven to 350 degrees and spray my pan. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. My oven is preheating now. Remember, always spray over garbage or the sink. Okay, so that's sprayed. Another reminder, make sure before you start you wash your hands and you have your hair up. I did that prior to starting the video, but I'm reminding all of you. Okay, so first we're going to combine our dry ingredients into a large mixing bowl. So I'm going to use my biggest one here, and I'm going to be measuring flour. Remember, don't forget how to measure flour. One nice big scoop, chop it up, and level it off. Okay. Flour. And then we need baking powder and salt. In this situation, you're not putting the sugar in as a dry ingredient, okay? So please don't do that. Just baking powder, salt, and flour. Now you're pretty much gonna set this off to the side. Now we have to separate 5 eggs. So you're gonna separate the 5 eggs from the yolk and the white. You're gonna put the yolk in a separate regular bowl, and the whites, that's gonna go in the frozen bowl that you had chilling. So don't forget to do that. So this is where I'm gonna be separating the eggs. Here's my issue. I don't have that fancy egg separator that we had at school. So I have to take my 5 eggs and just separate them using the shell, which is a nice little trick, but I'll show you how to do that. You have to get a nice even break. So always crack if you can on the table, right in the middle, on a flat surface, and then break apart. So I need my whites in the chilled bowl. Break apart the egg so the whites fall all over that shell, but the yolk stays in the shell. It's almost like a little spoon for you. Okay, so my yolks are gonna go there. And I'm going to, my garbage ready. 2, and you just kind of have to go back and forth a little bit until you really separate them. Back, so this is the part where we have an ingredient listed that you're going to split up. So you need a total of 1 cup of sugar, but you're going to split it up into 3/4 and 1/4. So first what you want to make sure you do is add 3/4 cups of sugar into the bowl with the egg yolks. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup. To get 3/4 of a cup, you're going to use a 1/2 and 1/4, or you're going to use 1/4 3 times. You should remember that from class. Okay, so that's a 1/4 right there, and this is my 1/2. And this is the fun part. We get to beat this with the hand mixer. All right, so you're gonna beat your eggs in your bowl with your sugar. This is the egg yolk. My egg whites are in the chilled bowl off to the side. And that's what that's gonna look like, almost like a custard, okay? The yolk and the sugar all beat together. So in the same bowl, you're gonna add in your vanilla and you are going to add in 1/3 cup of milk. I'm using whole milk. I always believe when you're making things like cake, the whole milk, the fat will add a lot of nice tenderness to it. Okay, so the measurement on the vanilla is a teaspoon. Once again, I'm going to use an overflow so I don't ruin my mixture if I spill into it. Okay, and this is my vanilla extract. And my milk's already measured, so I'm going to pour that in. And continue to mix until combined. Now what you want to do is pour your mixture, your egg yolk mixture, over your dry ingredients. Okay? And stir that in. Remember, everybody, when we talked about gluten and how gluten is found in flour and it creates elasticity and a tough, chewy product, you do not want to over mix your cake. So now that I have my flour activated with the moisture, I'm only going to mix until it's all incorporated with the other ingredients. I'm not going to over mix. I do not want tough, chewy cake. Okay, I'm going to use my rubber scraper to make sure I get every last bit of this egg yolk mixture. It even says in your recipe, do not over mix, so now that's okay. What you're going to do now is put this off to the side. And another fun part, you get to beat the egg whites. And what happens when you beat the egg whites on the high speed is that they become very light and fluffy. It's almost like whipped cream. But what you're going to see is stiff peaks. And I keep looking back at my recipe because I only made this one other time before, so I want to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Stiff peaks is pretty much when you can pull it up, or when you pull it up with this hand mixer, you can see like a stiff little mountain without it like falling down. And I'll show you what that looks like, right? Once you get it going initially, you want to actually also get your sugar ready because you're going to have to pour that in. So remember, we are going to need that last 1/4 cup of sugar because we already put in 3/4 of a cup. So I'm going to measure out 1 more 1/4 for a full cup. And I'm slowly going to pour that in as I mix. Okay, you can kind of see it's not as stiff as I would like it, but that will work. See how this is just egg whites, guys, that became this thick. So now what you want to do, remember you can inject these, don't rip them out. Okay. You are going to fold the egg whites into your batter. When you fold something, that doesn't mean to stir it. Okay, you're folding, so you're going to use that rubber scraper, and you're going to fold it, the top, like so that go to the bottom, come over the top. So you're going to fold that in. Okay, so that's all folded together. You can see what that looks like. My dog is growling at everybody right now. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your batter and you're going to pour it into your pan. Remember to use your rubber scraper. Okay, so what you have here now is your cake, and you want to make sure it's nice and even. So you can kind of drop it a little bit on the table and you'll get all that evenness to come out. You're going to put it in the oven. Put this in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Remember, everybody's oven is different, so keep an eye on it. You really don't want to overcook it, but you don't want it undercooked because then it's definitely not going to absorb the milk. All right, so we're going to put this in our oven, 350 degrees, 25 to 30 minutes. You can check it with a toothpick or some sort of a knife and see if there's batter on it, and that's how you'll know if it's done. Okay? Okay, here is our Tres Leches cake. This is the cake part, all done just out of the oven. My knife came out nice and clean. You can see it's nice and fluffy. It smells delicious. The next part of this recipe, it requires you to let this cool completely. So you really do need to give yourself a lot of time. You can't just make this real quick before you go into a party. You got to give yourself a lot of time to let this cool down completely. So put it on a nice cool surface. Don't put it on the hot oven and let it cool down until the next step.